So this 1.5 hours or whatever we have left now, we would want to allow you to work on something on your own, or whatever we taught and you did not understand, we will just individually come and discuss it with you and help you out with that. Also, for example, already Love asked this question if there was something that you expected and we did not cover. You could ask directly now, or you could ask individually to us. But as you remember yesterday, I showed you one slide from Jan's project that try to find one project or create a hypothetical project that you think might be useful for you. That includes repeated tasks, which means you will have to now create a function that would be able to do this repeated task on different files. So if you have something, that's great. If not, take a couple of minutes to think about it. If at all you cannot figure out anything, we can give you one hypothetical problem that you can write the code on it. So this is time for you to start really getting into it. Just so if you missed out something, you can revisit that, or if you did not understand it, you could ask us individually. Is that okay? Yeah? Or if there is something you still want us to discuss, we can also go on with that.
I have a question which is a little bit off topic, but is it possible to run in a very short and easy way shell commands inside Python scripts? To pass variables into this command and in the best way to save the output of the shell command in a variable or something like that.
Yes, so it's possible in this OS module. You should look up the documentation for os.subprocess, I think.
So there is a package called subprocess. You import the subprocess, and now from subprocess you have inbuilt function where you could just use the standard Unix code by calling subprocess.call, and then you just use the standard Unix thing and it would work.
But just the standard, because in my case I have to use a package which I have installed by myself on my Linux distribution, and the best way would be to write a Python script and just because it's much more easier with Python instead of Bash.
Yeah.
Because I have to do some calculations and something like that.
So you see here, you can. So it's subprocess.call, and then you just use ls minus l. So ls minus l you use in Linux to see the file. If you use it by subprocess.call, it would do the same job. So you're not changing anything basically. So this is what I use. There might be some more, but subprocess is already powerful enough.
Okay.
So as you can see, so I use this rather simple shell command, but this is a bit old style, so now it's recommended to use this subprocess module. It has a lot more functionality and it replaces all of this. And it allows you to capture output from the shell and save it. But I don't remember details, but you should, this is where you should look.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
And you said if you want to save some output from the terminal into the file, so you basically would call subprocess.call into a variable. So whatever is happening in subprocess.call will be saved in the variable, and now what you want to do with the variable is up to you. You can write it in the file. You can.
But you said this just works for the standard Linux command. So if for it's GMT, generic mapping tools, to use it, and I want to call it via a Python script.
It should. I mean, give it a try if you have time. It should work. It definitely works for me.
Maybe you could do it the other way around, that you use a shell script and call Python in the shell script. That is much more easier.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, so
That
a
should
lot
do
of
the
time
job.
people write codes in Python. There are like several of them. If you create a command line tool that needs to be run on Linux, right? So then you create a shell script where you give the command line tool that just call your script.
Yeah. Thanks.
But it works both ways. Any more questions?
I have a question related to global variables, because when we write this function in this, I don't know, this part which is not function, if I write any variable, then seen in the function itself.
You mean you're talking about local and global variable? The variable you supply to function, or what is inherent to function? Is that right?
No.
Do you have an example?
Yeah, I can go.
So if someone else have any questions?
Yeah.
Yes?
So yesterday we heard about using input files and generating output files in Bash. And if we want to use that now in Python,
Did I skip that? Yes. There is.
so that would be the basics to know, right?
Yes, sure. It wasn't supposed to be skipped, but the way you open files in Linux, in Python you can, I can actually show it.
Because I guess this is what everybody needs to do now, right?
Sure, this you would need for sure. So this also be skipped, so they're just like directly. So I will discuss this. Anything else? Classes for intermediate. I can.
Excuse me. Do you have any wireless connection available here? Like KF said that. Oh. Thanks. Mit einer Aufgabe oder so. Und mit eigenen Problemen. Okay, das ist cool. Das ist gut.
There are two things that we skipped to explain. It was my mistake. They were in the session 2, and I did not. So if you want to print a new line, you can use this \n, and if you want to print tab, you use \t. So if you, for example, write it in a sentence, \n, please give me some answer, /tab. So it will print in a new line, and \t will give you tab. So this is one simple thing, but very important when you're writing a file. As Jan pointed out, there I can show you how to handle files, how to create file, how to read file, how to write file. That's definitely important. So I'm just going to quickly show you. Okay, let's just. So when you're creating a file, you can directly create it by calling open.
Ich wollte mal wissen, ob sie da sind. Hm? Ich weiß nicht. Das ist gut.
Okay, so you can use open to open any file. But generally, I would suggest that you create a variable. Let's say I create a variable file handle equals open. And inside open, you write the file name. So let's say a file name .txt. Right after the file name, now you need to mention if you're creating a file. So if you're just creating a file doing nothing, you could write A. And then this needs to be under the code. But if you want to write a file, then you say W for write. If you want to read a file, you say R for reading. So because we don't have file name.txt, I'm just going to write a file. This will create my file and open it for writing something. Now let's say I create a list. Again, I put a couple of stuff in there. And I was also talking to someone, we should always use a variable which Python doesn't know, or Python doesn't have it as a function or something. So list, string, these are already known terms inside Python. So try to give it a name that Python doesn't know as its own function. So for example, this would be a bad name. Now I will iterate through my list 1. And now I'm going to write inside my file. So you say fh dot write, and I'm writing I in it. So now you created a file and you started to write your file. So let's see what happens, and then I'll also show you how you can write differently.
Okay, just to check what Malvika was just doing. She was running into an error. And the first thing was, okay, the error must happen somewhere in the right. So I use something different, which I know which works quite often. So she just used print, and it worked. So the for loop was okay, and the print was okay, so it must have been something on the right. And when we go back to the error, you can see that there's a type error. Must be a string, not an integer, for fh.write I. And if we go back, you can see that the list contains integers, but we only can write strings. And this is why she not only puts write I, which contains only integers, she now casts this integer into a string by using this string function.
Yes.
So what happened right now was debugging.
Yeah.
And you will do that quite often.
Yeah. And that's why I'm not afraid of making mistakes in front of people, because it just shows you that mistakes can happen, but what's important that you check why. Now I could run and it did its job. It created a file named filename.txt, and let's see what's in my file. It printed 1, 2, 3. So this is what I wanted to show you. If you write anything in the file without defining where it should land, it would write right next to each other. Now I already told you how to use \n and \t, right? So now what you can do is you can either define, you could write something, or you could add one new line here. So what would my program do now is that it will take each element from list 1, it will print it in separate line, because now I'm defining a new line. If you put \t, it would put in a tab separated manner. So that was about writing. How can you read your file now? Okay, let me just finish this and see if it works. So now you see you have each element in new lines because you told your Python to do it that way.
And write overwrites what you have written before.
Yes,
okay.
that's true. So you are not appending. When you're saying write, it actually overwrites. So you need to be careful with the file name. So now I know that there is a file name there, and now you could actually read it. So here I'll read by R. I don't need this most probably because I don't want to write anything, but now I can write my file. So what I'm doing here is that I'm reading each line in the file. So I say for I in fh. So now my I is not reading list 1, but it's reading file. In most of the cases, new line is considered as each entry. So if you give a file with several new lines, your Python would read each line as one entry. So which means here my file is going to read each line. And I can, I don't have to write because I'm going to overwrite that. I'm just going to print. I read the file and I just print. So it's printing there. And why it's printing with space? Because in the file there is already a new line, because that's how I wrote it. But again, when I'm printing, I'm allowing it to make new line. In the printing, because it's reading each line, it will print it separately. So this you might be using quite a lot, reading, creating file, writing file. Two things that I want to show how to exit while you're finished reading or writing. You need to say fh.close. So because you opened it, you need to close it. So this should be done. But there is another way you can do the closing of the file. So just know if you are opening a file by this method where you're giving it to a variable, you need to close it. But there is another thing called with. So if I say with open file as So what I'm doing here, I'm doing exactly the same, but I'm opening it with width. So what happens with width is that now all of these would go inside with 4 spaces. So I just tab, but keep it 4 spaces. And in that case, I don't need close. So with width, what happens, the file is being opened, everything is done, but the moment you come out of the for loop, your file is automatically closed. So this is another way to handle your file. And this I like quite a lot because with dot close, you're increasing the number of lines in your code, but with width, you're skipping that. So you could use any of it, both of them are valid. It's also about personal taste, what you like while coding. Thank you, Jan, for reminding. Any other thing that you thought we missed?
Just when we are talking about text files, how can we not rewrite text files? So
if you remember while we were doing make new directory, if the directory already exists, it shows you an error. File does not show you an error. So you need to write in a way that you already check if a file exists or not.
okay.
And there is which you can do by and in OS you saw that there's something called, so I will say if not os.path.exists. So I know that this is there and I know you might not know it. So I would ask you to use an editor which is made for Python. For example, PyCharm is made for Python. So if you do a dot, it will show you all the options and then you can choose from there. Then after path you do a dot, it will show you all the options. So now here I can check if my file is there or not.
Okay, that is clear.
Right? And then you put this inside this loop.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
So now if not exists, then go inside. If it exists, it does not go inside the file. So with file, it can be easily replaced. So generally do it already carefully when you're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, so we are all there. You could show us the red thing when you want to discuss, but as I said, think about a project that you want to start writing today, and you can take it home and continue writing on that. But try to make something that you have at the end of the workshop to take home and refer to. Or if you want, you can also take all the example and solution file from GitHub that I have posted and rewrite it on your own or try to understand that. So this 1 hour or 1.5 hours, that's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm going to just take that as okay.
So, der Part steht für alle 3 Novices. So, Ausfallstation, okay. Und das darf man mit Stichpunkten machen? Und das muss in Textform sein. Okay. Ja, aber kommt ja schön an. Das ist nicht so gut angebunden, wie viel Text hier steht. Also das ist halt wirklich von der Art und Weise des Abstrakts abhängig.